So I wanted to talk through some of the points from my last post, which was a case study on long COVID, and just, some of the highlights of that, and also just in general about long COVID or chronic illness and some of the things that you may experience as you're healing from it. And I also wanted to mention here before I dive in that my program is being built. It is definitely no joke. A lot of filming still to do, and a lot more prep, but it is happening, it is in the works, and this program will be for people who struggle with chronic illness. Really, like, my tagline is just a program for women who feel like shit. It's based on TCM principles and also Western medicine principles, and taking you through a organized thinking process, and we iterate with that, and it's really great to also have a community around it. So that is being built out in module form, just so that it's easier for you to do on your spare time. But I do have what I call my vault, so it's where you can go first and look through some videos of mine and see if you resonate with what we do and it's something that can fit into your life. And it's also an application process on my end to see if it is a good fit for you, because it's not something that is like a short-term thing or like inexpensive by any means. It's definitely a commitment, and it's at least a year long. So that whole thing of like the vault application and coming into the group and deciding if it's a good fit for you for the long-term program, that application is up, and it's in the link in my bio in Instagram. And I probably should also, I think I just use that same bio sites link in all of my posts. It says that it's the group and vault application, so that's up, although I don't have all my videos filmed for the vault yet, so it's not something that is currently up and running and perfect by any means, but I did want to just have that set up there, so that does exist there. And if you're listening to this later down the road, then it's probably humming along already in the background. So anyway, let's get into this long COVID case study. This is something that I see, I would say, often. And it's usually not that someone is coming to me and saying I have long COVID, although in this case it basically was. This person had a good idea that they had long COVID, but usually it's more of, I have these, 10 to 15 symptoms that don't make any sense together, and I've basically felt like shit for X amount of months or years, and I have no idea why. Every test is normal, and no one can tell me anything, and that's basically where we start with most people, and then we can kind of get into, okay, is it long COVID or is it something else? Is there an undiagnosed autoimmune condition, or is it chronic fatigue, etc., etc.? But in this case, she had already kind of figured out that it was long COVID. So this person was bedridden with COVID in 2020. So this has been a 5-year thing. And most of the signs and symptoms that she came in with and that were bothering her at the time had started 5 years ago after this really, really bad bout of COVID. And on that, you would think, okay, if someone's bedridden with COVID, or they've gotten it multiple times, or they've gotten it really bad and their fever is like 105, then they're probably the ones who are going to be getting long COVID. And while that is true in some cases, especially this one, it is not true all the time. And just because someone had a really bad bout of COVID, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to get long COVID, and vice versa. I know many other people who had like an okay time with COVID. It wasn't anything too crazy, but they do have pretty severe lasting impacts from it. And they are classified as long COVID, even though the COVID itself wasn't that bad. And even in my own experience, I got it once, that at least that I know of. It's the only time that I got a positive test, and it was a 104 fever for multiple days in a row, and basically like a week it took me out, and I was sweating so much and the fever was so bad. And I haven't been sick like that, I don't think, ever in my life, and I don't have any symptoms that have lasted. So yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot, and it's hard to kind of use, oh, okay, you had a really bad, maybe you have long COVID. Like, it doesn't always really correlate. So I just wanted to put that out there because it makes sense that it would, but not in every case. So anyway, she was bedridden with it though, and she was bedridden for 2 months, which is obviously very severe. And her main signs and symptoms when she came to see me were migraines, diarrhea that would happen randomly. It was with a bunch of triggers, foods definitely being one of them. She would also have this stomach upset that was almost like her stomach was turning / stomach aches and pains. And that would also be by many, many triggers. Foods also, like very high food sensitivity. With this person. She also obviously had fatigue. I feel like fatigue is like the number one of any chronic illness. I mean, that's, kind of a hallmark symptom. So the fatigue was pretty bad. And then also this congestion. The congestion was every morning. So she'd have all this phlegm just ready to exit her body in the morning, and then also sometimes in the afternoon and at night. And it would be like a postnasal drip sort of thing. She would feel congested, like she couldn't breathe that well. And then she also found this connection between this congestion and then the stomach pain and the diarrhea and the weird feeling in her stomach, and then all of her other symptoms. It's almost like when one started, they all started. So I found that interesting. She also had neck pain and nerve pain, irregular periods, as you can imagine, allergies, indigestion, and then post-exertional malaise syndrome. So anytime she would even, go for a walk or do something that a quote-unquote normal person can do, it would take her out and it would make her extremely tired, even if it's not really supposed to. Brain fog, abnormal sweating, so that could be either no sweating at all or excessive sweating. So in this case, it was not really being able to sweat during the day, and then sometimes there would be night sweating, and then just overall like weakness. So I wanted to really say within this whole case that if you read through the post, which is the last post that I did on Substack, it's called Case Study Long COVID. Couldn't be more clear. There was a lot of ups and downs, in and outs, changes, like this thing would change but this thing wouldn't, and then this thing would change but that would come back. Like there's a lot of back and forth, but the trajectory you can kind of, I hope, understand is upwards. And that's really the most important thing, because with cases like this, it is easy to say, okay, well, I felt better yesterday, but now today this symptom came back, and like really internalize that as, oh my God, something's wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong. I'm never going to get better. whatever. And that's not true. We kind of have to, hindsight is 2020, obviously. Like, we have to look at the long game and understand that, okay, well, day one, you couldn't do this at all, and now you can do it 30% better. So that's a huge improvement. And it is great when I write out a case study like this, because it really helps me even to see how much progress was made over a short amount of time. So what I suggest to patients that are going through chronic illness and trying to feel better from them is, when you're doing your things and your rituals and you're taking, this, that, and you're going to all these doctors, just every day write down some of your symptoms as if you were taking your own medical history. So when I go to see a patient, I write just what I found, the objective findings. And then for you, you can also write subjective findings. So how you're feeling and what has changed for you in the last day, maybe mood-wise, or how you slept. Did you sleep a little bit better? Did you have a dream that you don't normally have? Like, all of these little things that you might not think matter, if you write them down as if you're writing a medical history for yourself, and you just write the date and then just subjective and objective things that are true for you in that moment, then you'll be able to look back over a month or 2 or 3 and be like, oh wow, like, I was really down bad with that thing at this time, and now I don't feel that way. Or you can also, which is really, really helpful, kind of see, were there certain people in your life at a specific time, or were you around a certain environment at this time, and like which symptoms were flaring. And that's also really important to keep track of. So I know it's one extra thing to do, but I do find it to be helpful. And, obviously it's my job, so I have to do it regardless for patients. But I do actually kind of love that part of it, because it's so helpful to go back and say, okay, on this date, this is how they were feeling, and they haven't felt that in 3 months when they were having that every day. Because it's so easy to forget that you used to have migraines, or you used to have dizziness, whatever it is, and to be able to really look at it and say, wow, like, I've come so far. I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so proud of my body and what it's able to do, is so crucial in the whole healing process, because that is really the end part of it, is accepting this new version of yourself and stepping into this new, more full and healed life. So that's a tangent. Another thing I wanted to mention is that with her, I did 3 rounds of herbs, and the first one really kind of knocked her out at one point. She started taking them and felt really good for about, it was like a few days, maybe a week. And then we weren't sure if she actually got sick, like an acute, upper respiratory infection, or if it was the clearing out of shit from her body, which the herbs are known to do. That's why I prescribe those specific ones. And I was like, keep going with it, keep going with it. Then we did the second round of herbs, and she did much better with those. Also feeling, a little bit unsteady for a couple of days, but nothing like the first time. And then the third round of herbs, she felt great, and she felt a lot of symptoms starting to really decrease. So what I wanted to say is that sometimes when you start something, especially herbs that are known to help clear out biofilms, almost exacerbate symptoms because they're unearthing all of these hidden pathogens and trying to eliminate them. You can have Herxheimer reactions, and that's basically just a worsening of symptoms due to the fact that you're unearthing things that the body has stored away and tried to sequester off, and you're actually getting them out of the body through the body's own detox pathways, so pooping or peeing or sweating. And that period of time is the most crucial to stick with, and it's hard, and that's why the whole, program that I am building and the group chat that goes along with it is so important, because that time period is make or break. And it is hard to know if you're not talking to someone who has worked with people like yourself. It's hard to know, is this just a bad reaction that I'm having? Is this actually not helping at all and it's making me worse? Or is this a reaction that I'm supposed to have, although it doesn't feel very good? And will this end up being for the best? And it's very hard to differentiate also when you're not feeling good or you're feeling in pain or brain fog or whatever it is. You don't want to have to think about, is this something I should stop doing? Is this working for me? Should I feel these things? Is this even part of the process at all? And I just want to kind of put that here, because this did happen with her, where she almost got a flu, that level of sickness, and then it cleared, and it cleared quicker than a normal flu would. And then we just kept going with the herbs. Round 1 and 2 of the herbs were almost identical. I just switched out, I think I switched out one dose, I changed the dosage of one of the herbs, and then I switched out one of the herbs completely, but they were very similar, and she had much less of a reaction to the second round. And these herbs were only for 2 weeks at a time. So the first round was 2 weeks, second round was 2 weeks, and she took about a week off in between them, just during that sickness period. I just wanted to make sure that it was actually from this detoxification of the body and unearthing hidden pathogens instead of an actual upper respiratory infection. So and that's written out in the case study. But with the third round, we were able to kind of move up in intensity. So I increased the dose and then changed the formula altogether, and we were working more with nerve pain and stress, anxiety, stuff like that, and also some dampness in the stomach and digestive system. So we were working with different things at that point. But when you're in beginning stages of getting the body cleaned out of these viruses, etc., that it has had in there for who knows how long, there might be a period of time where you feel worse, and I don't want that to be scary. So I just like to mention that. The final thing I wanted to say here is that if you are working with someone, acupuncturist, functional medicine, ND, anything like that, where they do use a lot of supplements or herbs or other modalities other than testing and medication, please tell them when you have what you think is not a big deal. So in this case, this patient was feeling dried out after the second round of herbs, and she let me know that, so that I was able to put in a few more nourishing, not nourishing in terms of blood nourishing or anything crazy like that, because we're not really at a nourishing stage with her, but more so in terms of temperature wise, just picking a herb that is not as drying to the body, so that she wouldn't have that dried out feeling, especially because we at the time were going into a period of time in LA where it was getting more dry, so I didn't want that to compound with the herbs. So we adjusted from there. But if you are having any little signs and symptoms like that from any supplements, herbs, or other modalities that you're doing, please talk to the person who prescribed those and just tell them, even if it seems kind of stupid or weird. If you are feeling dried out, or if you're feeling like your stools are a different color, or you're sweating more, etc., etc., all of those things are very important, and a lot of adjustments can be made if you speak up. So yeah, that is that. I will probably be doing a lot of random little episodes like this. I do also make TikToks. I never promote that app because I literally just started it, and I have not been the most consistent yet, but I will. I hope, maybe, we'll see. So yeah, I do have other, posts on there that are more quick and easy to consume. And then also on Instagram is where I put more of the heavy hitter, in-depth carousel type content. We'll see where I go next time with my post. And thank you for listening.